Do you all have parents who think you're some DIY handyman, IT computer wizard when you really just Google how to do stuff? My elderly mother thinks I'm a computer god because I know the basics about Windows and online browsing. Compared to real computer experts, I'm a freaking moron. My parents don't click things. Modern technology is designed to be intuitive because the first time you tap a button something happens. My dad insists on reading everything on the page and it drives me crazy. Dang near had an intervention earlier with my uncle and parents telling me I should make a website for their small business so that it can instantly become more successful. I've never made a website, have no experience with any aspect of setting up an online retail business. They would refuse to put any money in and would expect me to just make it work. And I'm fairly sure they wouldn't be able to compete with other online retailers anyway. All this because I know the difference between an HDMI and USB. Yes, for tech stuff, but when it comes to me doing intermediate and advanced DIY tasks I still ask my 71-year-old dad for advice first. As you bloody well should, lad. We're bored as frick and are frickin' itching to get the Makito out. My brother got PC parts for Christmas then decided he didn't want to build it. I watched a few videos, charged him $100, and built the computer myself. My mom thinks I'm a genius when I just watched tutorials and channeled my Lego building skills. Googling is a skill. Being able to accurately define your problem and skim through a bunch of search results to find the relevant ones is a lot more difficult than you might think. Though if you do have the ability then it's easy to overlook it. It's like the difference between searching for startup exception error codes is and my computer doesn't work. Throughout my entire software engineering degree my dad would ask me why his printer wasn't working and demanded I fix it. When I would tell me that I don't know how to fix printers, he would exclaim, then why the heck are you even going to college? When he asked me what new printer he should buy he just decided to Google it. After getting the printer he said, see, I knew you knew. Most boomers in my surroundings go into a panic instant and call for help the second there is a message on the screen. All they would need to do is read it and do what it says 99% of the time. No internet connection. Please select a network to connect to. Oh no, our new Fire TV is broken. Yup, my boyfriend is convinced he can't do much around the house. To be fair, the process does end up like giving a hammer to a freebasing chimp and saying go for it. I'm the one who Googles, watches YouTube technique videos and buys the tools equipment needed. He handles anything that solely requires brute force. I aim to get round to fixing broken stuff before he notices it and it becomes a bigger repair job. Freebasing chimp. Freaking hilarious. Thanks, I needed this. As that IT guy, this is both the most painful and frustrating part of being knowledgeable about electronics technology. I'm mid-30s and embraced computers at a young age. When all we had was 28k dial-up internet, I was on there all the time just absorbing information. Then in college, we got 5 millibars internet at our house and holy mother of God was it incredible. If my computer was suddenly getting very slow, I hopped online and did some Yahoo searching. Pirated a lot of programs and games because I was a stupid college kid with very little money and now had viruses out the wazoo stealing my email passwords with key crawlers. Ask Mr. Jeeves about it. New smartphone doing something stupid years later. Googled that crap. Everything I know about technology is self-taught. All the time I get co-workers or family members asking me to help them with crap that takes me 20 seconds to Google and find an answer to. These people could do the same thing and learn something, but it's quicker to just go bug the guy who knows technology and waste my time looking up P and computer issues that are usually solved by did you restart your computer? There's a difference between Googling something and actually comprehending what you see read. So the ability to watch that stuff, learn, and then apply it does kind of make you a wizard because they probably don't understand it. I'm pretty sure people that actually work in IT also Google a lot. During quarantine I've been learning about curly hair science, skincare science, and more about ingredients in things. as my hair is wavy and I have a couple different forms of acne that I'm fed up with and generally find beauty to be a genuinely fun hobby interest. My mom insists that I need to become an esthetician or a hairstylist, neither of which I want to do professionally because being forced to do something I enjoy hard ruins it. She ruined photography and art for me as a teen doing the same thing. She absolutely insisted that I needed to get a professional portfolio together and to start charging money to those around me that I'd do mini photoshoots with. But honestly, I did it because I enjoyed it, and the second I started to get professional I hated it and dropped it. I still have the camera, CS6, and all that, but the pressure to make something of it ruins it for me and adds too much anxiety. When it started as me taking long walks for my anxiety and to get away from my family and stresses to a burden for me. I know this is kinda unrelated, but man does she like to try to make everything a business, but only for me. She's allowed to have hobbies that aren't jobs. A guy at work told me I should go to school for computer science after I showed him how to put bullet points in a Word document. Can confirm. Went to school for CS. I think that the ability to Google stuff accurately is an underrated skill. Knowing what terms to search for, what forums to browse, and what information you need, and then being able to actually learn from it is something that some people are much better at than others. If you are good at Googling, then you are kind of a DIY handyman because you can learn pretty much anything. I have a kind of sad story for this one. My dad was way ahead of the curve, taking CS classes when he was in high school, college classes in high school. He was advanced in both hardware and software. It was turning into a whole new world. He kind of dreamed at working for NASA, but settled running the entire server system and being the sole IT person for a plastic mold company that relies heavily on computers for the artists to make molds. He worked there, I wanna say, 20 years. He was let go during the '09 recession to have his work shifted to independent IT consulting. TBH, I don't entirely blame them because he had alcoholism issues and diabetes. He was already walking on canes and had a few hospitalizations. The worst was yet to come. He threw himself into alcohol and lost his legs. Developed Alzheimer's, mixed W alcohol related brain function issues. This happened when I was 9. This backstory is relevant because even though he was a tech genius and constantly building PCs for his friends, working on laptops, kept teaching himself, he didn't teach me anything but had hopes of building a color organ with me. That kit is still in the basement. 10 years later, I am now the designated computer geek for my family. I built my PC. I do soft coding for Minecraft and friend level Minecraft servers. I can do basic troubleshooting and diagnostics. I taught myself dang near everything. I researched. I befriended devs who taught me. I spent countless days working to better my tech savviness, which TBH isn't a whole lot but meets my gaming requirements. My dad loves to say how he taught me all that I know. He keeps going on and on about how well I know Java and how he helped me with it, how I assembled my PC solely with him holding my hand through the process, etc. It drives me nuts. He's called me frantic before because some of the junk on his desk flipped his switch and he couldn't figure out why his computer wasn't booting. I helped fix my mum's tower, his liquid cooling tower, his 2 side project towers for his friends, and he either takes the credit or takes credit for me learning from him. No offense, but he sounds a bit narcissistic. Yeah, my parents used to put restrictions on my phone. I'd always find a way to get out of them. To this day my parents still think I am some sort of hacker that used coding to get rid of it, when all I did was put in my password to turn it off. Actually, I have my husband convinced of this. Him. How did you fix the toilet handle? Me. You know, I used to work in construction. Actually, I watched a YouTube video. My wife thinks I'm some superhuman wizard when I do IT stuff or fix things. I absolutely love it. Some things I have done: add her work email to her phone, change a flat tire, clean out the dishwasher filter, increase temperature on water heater. My grandma couldn't figure out her desktop password after she moved in with my parents. Nobody could, so they call me. I go over there and the hint is literally your last name. I type a last name in and boom, I'm a wizard. My mother has told me I should have a job in IT for the past decade just because I came over once and cleaned out my father's power supply and applied new thermal paste to the heatsink, and because I understand concepts like the cloud and how to attach files to emails. I am 40 years old. Not even Google. I once solved a problem with a guess. One time I got the white screen of death on my laptop. I knew the screen itself was working because it would give me the login screen, complete with some artsy random picture from the internet as a background. But once I logged in I'd just see white. It just wasn't displaying. Because of the relationship to the login, I then used Ctrl-Alt-Delete to bring up the security options, one of which was log out. I logged out, then logged back in, and everything worked fine. My wife, mom, mother-in-law, and grandma-in-law all think that I can magically fix anything wrong mechanically because I was an aircraft mechanic in the army. I can do basic crap. But no, I don't know what's making that weird sound in your engine. No, I will not give it a look to see. I know frick all about fixing cars. Yeah, I was a helicopter mechanic. And even then I had an instruction book to tell me WTF I had to do, and it was written at a 6th grade reading level. Go to a mechanic. My mom called me one day and told me her internet was small. After some questioning I figured out she meant the browser window wasn't full screen. I explained what to do to fix it. There was a long pause and then "you are so smart" and some other praise. She acted like I solved the mysteries of the universe. No, but I am a parent that does this. I do it to teach my kid how to look up answers and research things. I show them how to discern good accurate sources from bogus ones. In the process my kid becomes more self-sufficient. We both learn something and get to spend time together. My mill once texted, out of left field, no context, "How do you do yoga? I'm getting hives from stress," and I was utterly at a loss to figure out if she accidentally voice texted instead of asking Google Assistant, if she genuinely thought we could tell her how to do yoga, or if that was her idea of a conversational segue to be to a sympathetic ear about how stressed she was. No idea. Oh, absolutely. It's just a trick of growing up on computers. I can look at a program I've never seen before and figure it out because it's intuitive to me when it isn't to older people who didn't learn computers until they were 40. If I am asked to figure out how to make something show up, I know to see if it has a view tab, and if not then an edit tab. In 60 seconds I've found it. I look like a wizard that knew exactly where to go, but I was really just searching blindly where it made sense too. But people who don't know computers wouldn't make those connections. I'm late to this so it won't blow up, but to my mom I'm a computer god. I handyman god. And I can fix literally anything. Honestly, I Google and read and teach myself. Compared to any actual expert I'm a beginner. To be fair, anyone born in the last 20 years was born when normal computers existed. Everyone here needs to remember the older generation never had these till early 90s to late 90s. Say 15 years ago roughly everyone had a computer in their home. So parents don't know how they work. We grew up with them and learned them in school classes. They did not. Lastly, you can learn anything on the internet and from books. It is annoying to see people not reach out and learn on their own. Not my parents, but my grandmother does. Anything more complicated than her AOL email is tech wizardry. She realizes it though, so I don't mind helping her at all. Time comes for us all. That'll be me one day. Because she knows she doesn't understand. It actually means that even though she's been targeted for tech scams, she hasn't actually fallen for most of them because she's just always suspicious of random people calling her with tech jargon. I'm an IT guy. Half of my job is turning things on and plugging them in, the other half is googling some bizarre problem that brings up a single Tomshadware thread from 2005 with the perfect solution. Yes, and I've told them both that I just Google it all. They still make me do it. Like, a couple of weeks ago, my mom called because her Roku remote wasn't working, and even though she could still control Roku with her phone, she still called me, freaking out. I don't know. Change the batteries? I don't have Roku. I use Chromecast. And after a bit, I finally just said, well, I guess I'm on my way over, on the bus, BTW, because I can't figure it out over the phone. She starts backing up a bit on her urgency and apologized. We hang up. I decide to just Google the remote troubleshooting. Lo and behold, there's a reset button. TADA. Fixed. SMH. I'm a school psychologist. I have a master's degree highly focused on figuring out cognitive abilities and helping determine learning disabilities and needs for special education. My mother still doesn't trust me when I say her youngest child has executive functioning difficulties, and certainly does not apply educational strategies I've made for her to help develop the executive functioning deficits she has, despite evidence that the strategies worked when she was required to stay with me and do her online schooling while mom worked. But whatever, I'm just her kid. She knows more. I used to think my parents were wrong, and that my IT skills were nothing special. Turns out, understanding SEO and being able to follow instructions are very useful IT skills. My dad has been driving me absolutely insane with this recently. He constantly expects me to know how to fix or do everything, and I'm like, nope, just Google. You can do it yourself if you try. They didn't mean to. Pretty sure once we are in their shoes, though we may not be completely ignorant as they were when it comes to tech gadgets, we too would need help from our kids and grandkids to operate or understand gadgets tech of their time. I built my own PC, and now my mom tells everyone that I'm a kid genius because as a teenager I was able to watch a YouTube video and follow it. Why commit so much to memory when we have everything at our fingertips anyways? Reminds me of math class in the 90s. You'll never always have a calculator. Even beforehand, if I needed a calculator for something, I just went and got one when I needed it. Hypothetical trained scenarios have never once been useful in my lifetime, and now I have a freaking GPS in my pocket at all times. Even works on water. A dong leaves your mom's vagina at 3 AM, averaging 69 miles per hour. Another dong headed in the same direction leaves you other mom's vagina at 6 AM, averaging 420 miles per hour. How many 5-minute weed sessions after the second dong leaves will it overtake the first dong? No, my dad is a tech geek and quite able to do it himself. But most of my co-workers and bosses fit the description. Googling and actually reading what's on the screen in front of you goes a long way. My mother knows it's really Google who is the expert. She says, asks that Google when she needs to know something. I have a Google Mini smart speaker that she herself could ask Google questions, but she won't do it. She says, no, I am not talking to that thing. You ask her, she won't talk to Alexa either. Yep, I got into graphic design and animation after high school. Suddenly my entire family believed I knew everything about computers and was constantly being asked for IT help setting up software and hardware. I'll design your birthday invitations but can't fix your virus-riddled computer. Shit. My mother used to think I was a tech guru, but I've managed to teach her how to just Google her problems and not be afraid of pushing buttons and just trying. Now she solves around 99% of any technical issue she faces herself. Fixing most computer issues is 10% knowing how to Google the fix and 90% having the confidence to apply the fix without making it worse. Yes, I fix all my appliances by watching YouTube and everyone is so impressed. I just think of all the old appliances I didn't need to get rid of, and now I get mad when I see companies that charge to off-haul. They're not dumping your barely broken appliance in the landfill. Thank goodness, they fix them or part them out. I worked at an AT&T store. When someone came in with a question about their phone and we didn't know the answer, we'd go to the back and Google it. It blew us away that people would waste their time coming into the store as if we all had that knowledge off the top of our heads. You ever think that secretly they all are pretty smart and understand how to make it work? They lived through world wars and crap, but just want to call and see their grandchildren because they love you and are lonely? Let me one-up you. My Phil comes to me asking, hey, so what do you think of so and so? I answer, Phil, okay. Now what about competitor? I answer saying I prefer the other for reasons mentioned. Phil, well, I'm going with the one you didn't suggest. Even though I came to you for what I consider expert advice. I get it's some sort of old guy power move, but dang, save me the conversation. Recommend the one you don't care for next time and give the one you do as the alternative. Basically beat him at his own game. Mayo. They were like that when I was a kid. They were amazed I could use stuff like Microsoft Word or PowerPoint properly. As time passed they learnt more about computers, so not so much nowadays. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.